Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call to order the Community Development Committee meeting for Tuesday, July the 5th, 2022. It is currently 6 o'clock. May I have a roll call, please?
Chairman Rivera,
Present.
Alderman Moiseo, Alderman Florian,
Present.
Alderman Hayes,
Present.
Alderman Turner.
Present.
Thank you. Item C, approval of minutes of the June 6, 2022 regular meeting. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Seconded.
Thank you. Motion by Alderman Turner, seconded by Alderman Hayes. Roll call, please, or all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you. Okay, item 2, we would now open up the public hearing. We are going to have a public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant 2022 Annual Action Plan and Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report.
Great. This is awesome. I love this part. Ready, son?
Chairman, you can just publicly call open the public hearing and invite members of the public to comment on the action plan.
Okay, so the public hearing is called to order. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment?
Three times.
Okay, we are now in the public hearing, and I'm calling again if there's anyone that would have any comments or like to comment. Okay, one and final last call for any comments regarding the Community Development Block Grant Annual Action Plan and Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report. Okay, there being none, we will go to the presentation. Yes?
You need to close the public hearing.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, okay, at this time I will be closing the public hearing then.
Thank
You
you.
need to make a presentation or say anything as a follow-up to that. Mr. Chairman, would you like to call the CDBG director just to comment on?
Well, okay, I just closed the public hearing. I'm going to ask if there's anybody in the audience that would like to speak regarding anything regarding what's on the agenda. And if there being none, I'm going to go to the presentation by Larissa Garland and Ms. Jackson.
Different presentation.
Different presentation.
Larissa would be commenting on the public hearing.
Gotcha, okay.
Good evening. I am Larissa Garland. I am the Director of Community Development Block Grant Program. This is Sharon Zavala. She is our compliance coordinator. She's new with CDBG, and I just wanted to introduce her to the aldermen and to the audience this evening. She's been an excellent addition to our department, and she's in a training process, and she's doing wonderful. This is her first year of completing an action plan and a caper, so we're going to do that together, and just wanted to introduce her.
Great, thank you and welcome aboard.
So briefly, I have before you the annual action plan. The caper is not before you this evening. The caper is still being worked on. They have some additional information that they have not asked in the past for the caper, and so we still have additional time. We only have a 15-day comment period for the caper, so we have some more time to work on that. What you have before you is the annual action plan for program year 2022. It is in draft form. We're still tweaking it, and it's still open. It's open for 30-day comment period in which anyone can come from the public, anyone who has any questions, any suggestions, you name it. We're taking all written. So you can submit them by email, cdbg@waukegan.il.gov. You can mail them to the department as well, and you can also drop them off in person here at City Hall on the 3rd floor. So if you have any questions, any comments about the annual action plan and the programs that we're going to be funding this year, that's where you can make your comment at that time. And we will reflect that and include it with the submission to HUD this year. And so it's due July 29th, so that will be the closing of the 30-day comment period.
Okay, great.
Okay. Any questions?
Anything else? Any questions?
I just wanted to mention real quick, we did get a decrease from last year compared to this year. It was a small decrease of our annual allocation. It was a decrease of $5,239 in CDBG. However, we did receive additional an increase in our home funds. I don't have that exact number, but we did at least get an increase with our home dollars. So.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, now we can go to audience time. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to talk about anything that is on the Community Development Committee meeting agenda? Okay, there being none, we will go to the presentation now for CMAP.
All right, hello, good evening. My name is Jamie Jackson. I'm a senior planner at the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, also known as CMAP, and we are your regional planning agency. Tonight I have a brief presentation to provide an update of the ROI program, which stands for Resource, Opportunity, and Impact, that we have been working on in partnership with the city. So on behalf of the project team, I really want to formally thank staff especially for working so hard with us, as well as members of City Council as well. So thank you for bearing with us as we've been going through this and providing your input. So before I get into it, I have to touch upon ON2 2050. It is the foundation of this program. Our program was guided by the principles of inclusive growth, resilience, and prioritized investment. The ROI program was designed as a form of technical assistance aimed specifically at building local government capacity and supporting local plan implementation. So here are some of the kind of major things that we've worked on. Primarily, this is a transportation-focused project where we identified transportation projects and applicable grants and worked with staff to apply for those grants. So basically, which transportation projects are out there and how do we get them funded? It was a fast-paced timeline. We spoke to several of you back in late 2021 and early 2022. And then we focused our efforts on identifying some key projects, then identifying grants, developing an action plan, and then implementing that action plan. In the next few slides, we'll take a closer look at some of the outcomes and accomplishments from these efforts. Did not realize I had All right, one of the main areas of focus for this project was to build capacity for the city to apply to and manage grant funding. Through many conversations with staff, we learned that the city has a pretty good working system in place for the grant application program, but this also brought to light an increased need for some grant management because there are a lot of specific details that go into grant management. We developed a grant toolkit with deliverables that you'll see here, and really these are just a resource for staff to use going forward to help them manage grants. So the additional program outcomes fell under this umbrella of project identification. One of the first things we did was develop a transportation project and prioritization list. And this is just really a snapshot of that list. So essentially, we worked with staff to identify every single possible transportation project, and these are surface transportation projects. So we're talking primarily roadways. And as you can see, there are a lot. We work with staff to help prioritize these projects based on several factors, and this is what we came up with. So the highest ranking projects are the ones that we wanted to pursue grant funding for first. And we developed a multi-year funding strategies for these priority projects and helped secure some funding for the next few years for projects such as Washington Street. And finally, I'd wish to say that we got a new train station at Fountain Square. And unfortunately, I cannot say that, but we did better understand the process, which is pretty detailed. We made some really great connections, and staff will continue to work towards this very lofty goal. But we've made some headway. Finally, CMAP, as I said, provided some assistance with grant applications, specifically for the local surface transportation program. And the total grant application funding amount that was applied for was $37 million over 5 different grants, including Keller Avenue, Sheridan Road, Washington Street, and Macquarie Road reconstruction. So finally, while we did develop several resources to help secure funding for transportation projects, these tools need to be continuously updated. So I know that staff is really using that priority transportation project list, and that is just something that is a dynamic tool that will be updated regularly. The grant application process and management of grants, once awarded, is a very time-consuming process and requires special attention to ensure that grant requirements and deadlines are met, and that ensures that you remain in good standing to get funding in the future. So one of the key recommendations that CMAP has for the city is to continuously review the project list, identify funding sources, as well as allocate staff time to pursue grant funding. But really the key to staying on top of funding and securing new funding, especially for the community as large as Waukegan, is really a dedicated position for grant management if possible. And with that, that is my short presentation for this evening. Again, we're so happy to be working with the city and providing this assistance, and we will continue to work with staff and check in to see that these tools and resources are meeting the needs of the community. And separately, I'm also working on the Unified Development Ordinance. So I will be back here for the next year at least, presenting to you and getting feedback. So thank you so much for your time this evening.
Great, thank you very much.
Can we ask questions?
Yes. Any questions?
Can you go back to the priority chart or whatever you call it? It doesn't show up very well on our screen or on yours. So the first box is the Metra Amtrak at Fountain Square, right?
Yes, so this was just meant to show you the overall view of it. I can provide, we can provide a detailed viewing of this so you can see how the projects are listed and prioritized.
Okay, I'd like that, but can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, so the second box says something interchange at Illinois 120 and 194. I'm assuming like improvement or something like that is the word I can't read up there.
I don't know offhand. There are so many projects on that list, and staff can certainly provide more detail on all these projects.
I can get a copy of this that I can actually read.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Off the top of your head, are you able to tell us of the communities that you work with, how many of them actually have a grant manager in place to assist with this process? I mean, you don't have to give me a number, but just give us a sense of helping us support any sort of proposal to hire such an individual.
Yeah, absolutely. Some larger communities definitely have a person dedicated to grant management. Otherwise, a key area of an existing position is just specifically for grant management. So a community development person might spend 50% of their time on specifically just grant management. It depends on the departments, it depends on the funding, sure. But these grants are, especially the transportation funding grants through IDOT, have very specific deadlines and reporting requirements, and if those aren't met, it puts you at risk for not getting funding in the future.
Sure, okay. And would a grant manager be your primary contact? Of course, you're going to talk with staff to get ideas about different needs in the city, but would a grant manager be CMAP's primary contact here at the city?
It really depends on what the project is. So, we work with community development staff for the zoning. I'm working with staff on different things, but we worked with Jesus Alcacer a lot for these projects because he knows the transportation world a lot better.
Sure.
So it really depends on the staff. And, the grant manager wouldn't necessarily just be focused on transportation grants. It could be someone that could help with the fire department, the police department. There's so many areas of funding that are outside sources.
Sure. I'm sure you can tell that I'm angling at trying to find a way for the city to have this individual. I'm not surprised to hear that we don't have the resources we need in place to make these things happen. So I'm just kind of curious to know your thoughts about that. But I, like Alderman Florian, I'll take a close look at the list you're going to provide, or the more detailed list, because it's certainly interesting. So thank you for presenting.
Absolutely.
If there are no other questions, thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you.
Okay, now we will go on to old business. There being no old business, we will go to new business. If I could please have a motion to approve an ordinance for zoning calendar 2661, a map amendment from R1 single family residence to B3 general commercial at 1465 North Green Bay Road.
Make the motion.
Motion by Alderman Turner. May I have a second, please? Second by Alderman Hayes.
Question?
Roll call, please.
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Hayes,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Chairman Rivera.
Aye, thank you. Next item, motion to approve an ordinance for zoning calendar number 2662, a map amendment from CR Conservation Recreation to B3 General Commercial at 1535 North Green Bay Road.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Alderman Turner, seconded by Alderman Hayes. Roll call, please.
Alderman Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Hayes,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Chairman Rivera.
Aye, thank you. Item C, motion to approve an ordinance for zoning calendar number 2663, a map amendment from R1 single family residence to B3 general commercial at 12888 West Sherman Avenue. May I have a motion, please?
Question, sir, if I may. This address is 5 digits. Wouldn't that indicate it's out in the unincorporated area? Noel?
The property borders the unincorporated area, but it's an undeveloped site that's within the Waukegan city limits. It's just never been developed, so it's never been assigned a Waukegan address. And these three projects, map amendments are all for one project. So we'll go through a minor consolidation of the parcels, make them one parcel. Within the city limits, they'll get a new address, presumably one of the existing Green Bay Road addresses.
Right.
And then it'll be developed by the new property owner.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it.
Any other questions? Do we have a roll call?
We don't have a motion yet.
Do I have a motion?
I'll
do
make
now.
the motion.
Alderman Turner, seconded by Alderman Hayes. Roll call,
Alderman
please.
Florian,
Aye.
Alderman Hayes,
Aye.
Alderman Turner,
Aye.
Chairman Rivera.
Aye, thank you. Item D, motion to approve an ordinance for zoning calendar number 2664. A conditional use permit for a garage for storage and repair and servicing of motor vehicles at 1307 West Belvedere Road. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Alderman Turner, seconded by
I'll second.
Alderman Hayes. Any questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
I'd like to clarify where it says for storage. I have several car repair properties that have come to my attention in my ward and throughout the city where too many cars are stored on the property and they start looking trashy. And I'd like to know exactly what they mean by storage and how many cars. I don't know, unfortunately, I don't know this property well, so I'd like to know how big it is and how many cars they plan to store and what kind of, are they gonna store landscaping vehicles? Are they gonna store trucks? Are they gonna, what's the storage part of it?
So we would only allow them to store vehicles that are being serviced at the facility, but the applicant is here, so they can come
Okay.
up and answer questions generally, and I can supplement that.
I,
Okay, yeah, there are gonna be no cars stored there right now.
Would you introduce yourself, please, Alan?
Sorry, I'm
Thank you.
Alan from Mass Holdings, the owner of the property, and I think, Alderman Florian, what you're referring to is the back. Do you mind if you just show me the storage picture? Or where you're
I don't have a picture, it just says, we're gonna use a permit for garage for storage, repair, and servicing of motor vehicles. So I wanna know the storage component.
So there is no storage.
Okay.
I think the storage component was where, there was a company, Waukegan Steel, they used to be in the back, and they had trailers.
You
there.
speak up, speak into the mic.
Sorry, they had trailers in the rear that have already been removed. I think that's what the storage is referring to. This shop just has it's a very big space inside, where it's just a servicing warehouse for vehicles, so there will be no vehicles stored externally.
Okay,
Yeah, it's just all internal.
all right, thank you for that.
Absolutely, yes.
Question for you. So is it where the Lake County Pipe and Supply Company was? And there's,
Correct,
okay,
correct.
so there's the two, I'm looking at a picture, it looks like effectively three large commercial doors that, so you'll drive the cars through there and store them.
So this property is actually for the east side of the building.
Okay.
And so you'll see these entrance doors that are going to be just east of that loading dock.
Okay.
And if you go a little bit more east and to the right, there is an entrance with an overhead door on the east side of the building. So
tracking
that's where the traffic flow will come in and out of it into that shop.
Okay. Is there any plan to do, I see that it's a sidewalk and then it's immediately Belvedere Road, but any sort of landscaping or green space or anything on the property?
It's already been done.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're voting with the conditions that have been recommended as part of our vote tonight?
The conditions are listed in the ordinance.
Okay, yep, great. Thanks.
Any other questions? May I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Florian?
Aye.
Alderman Hayes?
Aye.
Alderman Turner?
Aye.
Chairman Rivera?
Aye, thank you. Item E, motion to approve an ordinance for zoning calendar number 2666, a conditional use permit for a daycare center at 1733 West Washington Street. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion. Want to be consistent here.
All right, and I will second by Alderman Hayes. Any questions to this?
I have a couple questions. I was at the planning and zoning meeting where this was presented, and one of the issues presented was there was a gentleman that lived in the upper floor of the building. Noel will remember this. And I'm just curious, I don't think we have any say in that whole situation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so for us to approve this, it doesn't matter whether he's still there, or whether he's gone, or what. I know there was a lot of discussion about it at the planning and zoning meeting.
There was. And again, the applicant is here if you want to hear from them about it. But yes, I concur with you that we don't have jurisdiction as to whether there's a resident there, that we feel that that would fall under the state daycare code.
And they've already been approved by the state.
Yes, my understanding is there's a state license.
Okay, then I don't have any questions.
All right, may I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Florian?
Aye.
Alderman Hayes?
Aye.
Alderman Turner?
Aye.
Chairman Rivera?
Aye, thank you. Item F, motion to approve an ordinance creating a Class K1 banquet liquor license for Chixia LLC, Milan Banquet Hall, 651 Lakehurst Road.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Alderman Turner, seconded by Alderman Hayes. Any questions to this motion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry. Was there a previous liquor license for this location or this establishment?
Yes.
I'm actually having a hard time accessing it on board docs, but it says previous license closed. So I'm just kind of curious to know about the history.
I believe this is one where they didn't meet the April 30th deadline?
It was, the license was not renewed in time for the April 30th deadline, and they also went past the June 1st grace period, I believe, as well. So at that point, the license was considered to be basically terminated by non-renewal, and so they're applying for a new license.
Okay, so it's an existing establishment that's been operating just without a license for the last couple of months, and they're seeking to get the license?
I don't know if it's actually been open and operating, but it was, it did not have a license. There was a gap in the licensing,
Okay.
and it was, the license was not like pulled for cause or anything,
Okay.
if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, you're,
But it would be important to know if they were operating without a license, in my opinion. Are they here?
Yes.
Oh,
Good evening, Carrie Bounds for the Milan, also known as Chixie.
Mm-hmm.
I can answer is, so what basically happened, there was a change of employment with employees, so that was the lapse of the license.
Renewal.
Exactly,
Okay.
correct.
the ownership is still the same?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, but that still didn't answer my question. Did you operate without a license?
For the bar, no, did not.
Okay, any further questions?
Nothing for me.
May I ask that you repeat your name, please, for our minutes?
Sure, sorry, Carrie Bounds.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your information. No, if there are no more questions, may I have a roll call, please?
Alderman Florian?
Aye.
Alderman Hayes?
Aye.
Alderman Turner?
Aye.
Chairman Rivera?
Aye, thank you. Okay, that completes our new business. With reports and communications, there being none, we will go to adjournment, and may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Seconded by Alderman
Hayes.
Hayes.
Keep it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. The meeting concludes at 6:28.
Thank you.